Good day everyone, today we're taking a look at an update for the Afterglow lighting asset library. This is a light shapes update, so let me just take a quick look at the store page to explain this. Here we are, so version 2.1 is available, which adds a light shapes category which adds both 3-dimensional and 2-dimensional objects, which are intended to help you get more interesting lighting and reflections around objects. So this can be in the form of like actual shapes which surround objects. They'll be invisible shapes, but they're still providing light onto the object. And maybe more stylistically, image planes, as we can see here in the preview, where you can get kind of interesting patterns appearing on objects. The idea I've always had in mind for this is, say you've got a character and you want like a glint in their eye, something like this would be quite appropriate. So back in Blender, I've got the Afterglow asset library open here, and we can see all of the content. We've got the new light shapes category, which has two subcategories for geometries and image planes. For this update, the image planes are focused on a painterly style, but we can do other things in the future, like more realistic things if needed. To simulate real life lights, we could always do that. But for now, we've got these two categories. So let's take a look. I'm in my brand new startup file here, which is itself also available on Gumroad. Maybe I should put that on Super Hive as well. I'll make a note of that. But let's go for like a semi-reflective, physically based material just to test this out. Okay, so I've got a sphere here in my current lighting environment. And if you're wondering what these objects are, the whole point of my Afterglow product is to make use of emissive lighting in cycles, which means that the lighting comes from like physical shader sources. So we can see that here. But of course, the objects are hidden, so we can make use of the lighting without seeing them. But anyway, if I choose, what should we start with? Let's do like number 18, maybe this one here. So I drag that in. We'll see by default, Blender likes to project the plane straight on the object, but you wouldn't really want it like right up close like that. You'd want to move it away a bit, and we can actually see the plane in the viewport there. And maybe to make this a bit easier to see, I'm actually going to open up a 3D viewport here so we can see the plane in the corner and the effect in the 3D view. So you see as I move it closer and further away, it's represented there in the object. One thing I could also do is maybe like if I set the 3D cursor onto our object, make an empty. You don't have to do this, but this is a way I like pivoting things around the scene, and then parent the plane to the empty, then we can kind of rotate it around, you see? So I can bring that a bit closer, maybe like right up to it. I can also increase its emission strength and decrease it. If I go back to our object, if I make it more reflective, then we can see that in detail as well. Let me maybe move some other light objects around, or maybe even disable some so we can kind of focus a bit more on this. So we can see it here, you know, responding appropriately. And I love how it interacts with the bloom as well for stuff like this. But also because it's physically based, it means that the plane itself is also projecting light from those pixels specifically. That's what I absolutely love about like the physical simulation of light. It's my favorite thing in Blender. Obviously, you've been around for a while. It's what I spend most of my time playing with now. Now, these image planes, you can modify the color on them. In terms of color, I could probably add more functionality for that going forward, but you get more control from the geometry light shapes, which we're going to take a look at, because you can do some really funky things with them. But let's not jump ahead too quickly. So in the light shape, if I do a mixed color node, and I'm going to put it between the emission color at the moment, because that's the one that we're really going to see. If I set it to maybe like color or color burn, doesn't really matter, and then set it to red, for example, then I can change the factor, and that's going to change the color of our light shape there. So maybe this is something a bit more evil. You can also, of course, compound these together. So let's take another image plane. Oh, this one might be interesting with all the dots, or maybe one like this. Let's try these dots. I'm going to move that away, and I'm also going to parent that to my same empty object, so we'll be able to kind of rotate it around like that. Now I'm just going to make a bit of a modification. That reminds me of like spider eyes as well. Let's maybe get it a bit closer to like, yeah, around the border, something like that. And again, I want color control, so I'm going to do the same thing again. So mix color node there, set it to color. We can make it the same or do it different. Blue looks quite nice as well. Increase the strength so it interacts with the bloom that I've got in the compositor as well. Nice. And then again, we can rotate that around a point. So this is what the light shapes update does. And again, these are like painterly stylized ones. In the future, it could do more realistic ones. There are already products on like Super Hive and that include more realistic light shapes, but I just wanted to start with stylized things because it felt more fun. I should also say that some of these were also contributed by Lara Stolk, a friend of mine, who's a fantastic 2D artist and animator. Okay, for now, and out of interest, let's remove all of the other light objects in the scene. So we're actually just relying on these. Now, you will need quite a lot of light to come through for those alone to light the scene. Now, obviously, these are intended more for like reflection type things because they don't cover a large surface area. Again, think about like the glint of a character's eye. Geometries, however, tend to have a larger surface area, and most of them have been designed to provide influence around a single point, which means they're more spherical. Now let's take a look at the light shape double ring. I believe it's double faded ring. Yep. So I'm just going to put that in the scene and we can see what it looks like here. It's basically two rings crossing over each other and, we can scale it, modify it, etc. And maybe I'll just disable the other planes just to make it clear what we're seeing. Okay. So as I rotate this around, it's providing a interesting reflection outline on the shape and we can see where the rings are faded to a certain degree. Now, the thing that makes these geometries interesting is that we have a bit more control over their color and light output because we have the color ramp gradient. So you can see here that I can tighten up that fade or move the influence of it somewhere else, like further back. But this also means that we can provide color. So naturally I could do like a blue there. I could gradiate it to a bit of a green. Again, tighten that up. Maybe bring the blue a bit closer. So there we go. Again, if I bring kind of some other light objects back in, and I'll just move the upper light to look a bit more towards the light catcher now, then you can see it's quite interesting. I'm going to remove the upper light from the glossy rays, so we don't see that as much. So we get this nice kind of angelic background look to it, and we can still focus on that. That's cool. And then there's like a different variety. One of them, like this light shaped single wave, is not circular. It's just like a single object, which is fine. Like you can kind of just use that to do like a little line, but it's not completely consistent line around a border. We've got like a cross shape one as well. You might need to rotate them if needed, but we've got more circular ones like this triangle one, which is quite interesting. So these are things you can get quite creative with. Let's take a look at maybe fading this one a bit, increasing the power there. Let's put both of these under that empty again and rotate it. Now, I imagine that people might be able to do some funky things relating to motion graphics with this, right? But again, you don't have to see the patterns as such. You can use this even for more realistic use cases where it's not about the stylized nature of the patterns. It may just be about getting a slightly more interesting or diverse lighting. So let's put another object into the scene. I don't know how this will look. Let's do Suzanne, scale it to a bit more of an appropriate size. I'm giving Suzanne one of my more favorite materials, and we're just going to play around a bit. I've just removed some roughness detail, and let's see. Now, obviously, there's so many light objects here, we don't need all of these together. So we can be a bit more like pick and choosy with it. So I removed some normal detail now. And what we've got at the moment are the two original light planes. So these are the ones with those painterly styles to them. Let's see, what else can I do? Can I remove some other light influences? Make that a bit more metallic. So where will I be able to see this? Oh, here we go. So we've got those dots there, you remember from the original plane. And we've got that kind of cross-like pattern there as well. So you can see it's a very kind of different paradigm to like regular lamp shapes. It's increased roughness a bit more. It's quite nice. Let's say I remove the red so we're not kind of overwhelming the scene. So now we're just using the blue one. What's nice about this lighting here is it's kind of soft, but again, that's based on the roughness. But we can see that there's an inconsistency in the light pattern there. Okay. So again, it's not like a square of a regular light. We can see that it's something with a bit more creative detail. Now that is something you could swap out and play with. Let's say I like that position. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in another plane. Let's try, this cross one is a bit like a crosshair number 22. I'm actually going to parent it again to the empty that we're working with. And this time I'm going to copy the position of our original one. Now I've got the copy attributes add-on enabled. There we go. So under edit preferences, get extensions, copy attributes menu. I like using this for copying like the locations of things. So I select my new one, select the old one, Control C, copy location. Let's remove our original, which was 52. So now we've got our new one active. And just to make that easier to see, because I get this can be a bit confusing when you can't actually see everything. There we go. Got my crosshair there. I'll hide it from the camera, increase the strength a bit. Let's lower Suzanne again, just so we can see that there. So we can see the crosshair in her eye now. And as we rotate it around, that light shape is having an effect all around her. And I actually quite like that. It's a bit reminiscent of like studio ceilings in some way, having all these extra lights. Let's turn her roughness back up a bit and go back to the light. And let's change the color again. Let's do something like bluey now and rotate our empty. And I really like how that looks here. You get these intensity curves, which fade off quite well, especially nice on the top there. Yeah, so this is like an example use case of how things like light shapes, even if they're just basic image planes, can get you some interesting creative control over the lighting. Before we go, let's do another geometry one. So I've got quite an intense one that's like, it's a triple wave one with spots in the middle of it. So let's bring that in. So there's quite a large surface area in this one, obviously. So I'm going to parent it to my empty again and let's turn down the emission strength. But let's do a gradient on this one. So we can do like, blue on one area, red on the next. Now, because this one is kind of all encompassing, that means it's going to be light pretty much everywhere. But again, stylistically, that may be exactly what you want. We can, however, though, make a certain area of it black. try and get a bit of blue and red in. So by making like half of the ramp black, that means we are going to get some of that resting relief from one side of the shape, while we're going to get that color difference from the other side. Let's amp up the emission a bit. But again, what you can see here is complex lighting. We can even see where we're getting like bands of intensity kind of creep around Suzanne there. Okay, so they can be quite fun things to play with. Like if you're stuck in a rut and you've got an object in the scene, you don't know exactly how to make it kind of pop. These are fun little things to play with. Oh, another thing as well, they do also work with volume, which can be quite cool, especially if you hide the volume. So if I increase the volume density and increase the emission output, one thing you're going to notice, and you might like this, by the way, is that we can actually see the shape represented in the volume there. I've scaled up the object, and wherever the light shape touches the volume, it's going to light it up. Again, you might like that effect. That might be really cool. But if you want to hide it, with that light shape object selected, under the object properties, go to ray visibility and disable volume scatter. So you're still going to get the light affecting the object, but it's just not going to, project it onto the volume itself. But again, it's up to you how you modify this. You may even want to do the opposite and use light shapes to define an interesting pattern in the volume without affecting the actual object. Say I remove like diffuse and glossy. We've still got this thing happening in the volume space, but it's not really doing anything to the object. Maybe we can add these things together. So now I'm going to bring in like the painterly ones we had. Let's do these two that I had in the top right. And you can just have fun with it. So like I said, this update is available now for Afterglow on Gumroad and Superhive. It's included in version 2.1. I'll leave a link in the pinned comment if you want to pick it up. Maybe put a light bulb related emoji in the comments so I can see if you made it this far. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you next time.